Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
The United Nations has released a landmark report on climate change around the world, and according to the report, it is accelerating, and human-caused emissions of greenhouse gases are by far the overwhelming cause. There is still time to avoid catastrophic warming this century, but only if countries around the world stop burning fossil fuels as quickly as possible. This is a dire message to the world's leaders, and more unequivocal than ever before. Now, we've been talking about this for quite some time now, and the report, in and of itself, taken on its own merits, doesn't really say anything new. We've known for decades that the world is warming, but these changes we're seeing now are widespread. We've been talking incessantly about wildfires in the United States, in Europe, in Asia. We've been talking about damage from hurricanes being more or worse than ever now. Sea levels have been rising, rains are getting heavier, floods are getting worse, and we're seeing the concrete impact of what scientists have been warning us about for decades. And according to the vice chair of the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, quote, "It is indisputable that human activities are causing climate change. Each of the last 4 decades has been the warmest on record since pre-industrial times."
It's a frightening time. Indeed, it's a frightening situation altogether, and this UN assessment did find that the Earth's average temperature will reach 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels at about the year 2030. So basically, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it was published yesterday, and it said the tipping point would arrive a decade earlier than projected only 3 years ago. So furthermore to this, the threshold will be breached by about the year 2050, no matter how aggressively humanity draws down carbon pollution. So global warming is caused by gases such as carbon dioxide, trapping solar radiation in the Earth's atmosphere, making the climate warmer. And this is commonly known as the greenhouse effect. So this report basically said the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, they're higher than they have been in 2 million years. And methane and nitrous oxide concentration is higher than any point in at least 800,000 years. This is scary. So all in all, there are 5 main culprits for this increase in greenhouse gases. As you mentioned, Ahmed, fossil fuels, for sure. The burning of fossil fuels, gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, they trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. Deforestation is another cause as well, because we've seen that since the 1960s, forests, soil, and oceans, they have steadily absorbed about 56% of all the carbon dioxide humanity has put into the atmosphere, despite the 50% rise in emissions. And trees are being cut down at an alarming rate, right? So this is also has been traditionally viewed as the lungs of the planet, obviously, the Amazon rainforest in particular, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. So this is also another cause. A third cause is increasing livestock farming. A growing demand for meat has led to intensive agriculture of animals. We've seen cows and sheep produce large amounts of methane when they digest their food, and this gas adds to the greenhouse effect on the Earth. And a fourth cause is fertilizers containing nitrogen. That's intensive farming. It quickly exhausts the naturally occurring nutrients in the soil. So therefore, farmers, they use fertilizers to boost their agricultural output. But fertilizers, they contain nitrogen, and they produce nitrous oxide emissions, which increases the warming effect on the Earth's atmosphere. That's also an alarming cause. The last cause being the fluorinated gases. These particularly damaging gases, they're emitted from equipment and products such as commercial and industrial refrigerators, air conditioning systems, and heat pumps. So they're all used as blowing agents for foams, fire extinguishers, solvents, and aerosol propellants. And these emissions, they have very strong warming effect. It's considered to have up to 23,000 times greater than that of carbon dioxide.
Worrying sign, isn't it? And it just raises this question in terms of what might be the solution. What should we be doing as governments, or even us as civilians? One particular example could be recently, in fact, as recent as yesterday, Imran Khan has decided to plant or create an urban forest in Lahore. He inaugurated that Miyawaki urban forest yesterday. We've seen that here in the United Arab Emirates, the vision of 2040 to have more of a more mangroves forests to be launched and initiated here in the United Arab Emirates. To an extent, that could be great. But the thing is, the report does not come up with the massive sort of solutions, and this is why the famous Greta Thunberg has also spoken
Showed
out.
up again.
She's back again, back in the headlines. I wish we can contact her and get her on air with us to discuss it in great detail. But we're concerned that she might, in the 3-hour show, might extend a lot longer, courtesy of Greta. She says that the new IPCC report contains no real surprises. It confirms what we already know from thousands of previous studies and reports, that we are in an emergency. It's a solid but cautious summary of the current best available science. It doesn't tell us what to do. It is up to us to be brave and take decisions based on the scientific evidence provided in these reports.
Yeah, the question of policy is certainly an interesting one, and I think despite not alluding to a direct solution, the report does get into some very interesting things here. For instance, it posits 5 theoretical scenarios to try and predict future global warmings. And the scenarios include different levels of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as economic and population growth and political collaboration. And under all 5 scenarios, the Earth will at minimum hit 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming within the next 2 decades. The report stated also that it's possible to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees at best, and that would require immediate, rapid, and large-scale reduction of all greenhouse gases to limit global warming to that number. And if that doesn't happen, then it might be well beyond reach and it might get even worse. The other thing about policy and how the report might give some hints on how to go about this is it focused on local solutions because it was very region-centric. It broke down the findings and predictions region by region, and that's a big deal because many countries rely on such reports to understand what their future is going to look like for their citizens and what policies make the most sense for them. For example, the pace of sea level rise, according to the report, varies dramatically depending on where you live. And governments need regional information to decide where to build new infrastructure and how to protect the existing coastal cities as well. The same is also true for drought, flooding from rainstorms, which disrupt agriculture and drinking water supplies as well. So all of these factors are given in the report. And this is going to be used by governments, hopefully, to try and formulate better policy on that front. But yes, it's very, very clear that in order to combat climate change, governments around the world need to post very ambitious benchmarks and need to collaborate globally as well to try and hit emission targets, transform their energy systems into renewable ones, transform transportation, the way people use energy at home. All of those things, all of those factors play a major role.
They certainly do. So it all starts from those little baby steps and all starts with those little initiatives towards that greater goal. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll be talking about Greta Thunberg later on in the programme after she was published in the front page of the Vogue magazine and her reaction to it. All of that will be discussed right here on the Morning Majlis. Up next on the programme, we talk to you about Belarus and the President Alexander Lukashenko in all sorts of hot water and why is it significant, what's going on. All of that will be discussed here on the Majlis. We'll return after a bit of Tracy Chapman and Eric Clapton, and then we've got a bit of a traffic update to help you keep moving as well. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
The biggest news that emerged yesterday here in the nation, not just the Emirate of Sharjah, is the appointment of the new deputy ruler of the Emirate of Sharjah, by His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah. The issuing of this new Emiri decree regarding the appointment of the deputy ruler of the Emirate of Sharjah, and no one else suits this seat, let's just say, and this position, other than His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed bin Sultan Al Qasimi. So, according to the Emiri Decree number 25 of 2021, it stipulates that His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed will be appointed as the deputy ruler of the Emirate of Sharjah, and the decree is effective from the date of its issuance.
Yes, indeed. And His Excellency takes over a position that was vacated when Sheikh Ahmed bin Sultan Al Qasimi, who served as the deputy ruler for 30 years and was a previous Minister of Justice in the federal government, passed away in July of last year. Now, His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from Arkansas State and a master's in computer information systems from the University of Detroit Mercy. He led Sharjah's year of events and celebrations when it was named Islamic Cultural Capital in 2014. He also established new TV stations to connect the Emirates' more rural areas, including Al Zaid and Al Kalba. So he played a major role as chairman of the Media Council here as well.
Yeah, overseeing the Sharjah Media City, Sharjah Government Media Bureau, as well as the Broadcasting Authority. And a lot of people have come out and voiced their support and also their thoughts on the matter. His Excellency Saif Muhammad Al Midfa, the chairman of the Financial, Economic and Industrial Affairs Committee of the Sharjah Consultative Council and also the CEO of the Expo Center in Sharjah, extended his warmest congratulations and blessings to His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed bin Sultan Al Qasimi on his appointment as the deputy ruler of the Emirate of Sharjah, where he will also serve as the chairman of the Sharjah Petroleum Council. His Excellency stressed that the decision of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi, Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah, embodies the great interest in giving confidence to young leaders, especially since Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed bin Sultan Al Qasimi has been viewed and regarded as a leading figure in which he has proven continuous success in all that is entrusted to him, and he is a highly sophisticated figure. That's according to the statement by Saif Muhammad Al Midfa as well. Lots of other senior government representatives have also shared their thoughts on the appointment.
Indeed, they came in from the senior officials here at Sharjah government congratulating His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed on this appointment, and a really happy moment for us here in the Emirate because we've all felt the impact and the footprint that His Excellency had been leaving in terms of his contributions on various initiatives and interventions across the board. For instance, he's had a pretty positive impact with promoting environmental initiatives through his involvement in petroleum. He's also received the Arab League's Media Personality of the Year several years ago in recognition of his active role in developing Sharjah's media sector, both locally and regionally as well. And a lot has been achieved under his leadership in the various positions that he had taken throughout his tenure in Sharjah's government, and it's going to be exciting to see what he also does as deputy ruler of the Emirate as well.
Absolutely. He was responsible for so many achievements and so many developments here in the Emirate of Sharjah, being the infrastructure, being the business developments, being the housing developments in the Emirate of Sharjah that he's very well known for as well, and of course the media developments and excellence as well in the Emirate of Sharjah. And definitely His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed is characterized by his high efficiency to achieve the hopes and aspirations of the smiling Emirates, and also he is to chart an exceptional future for it for sure.
Almost every renowned government official has come out and released their statements in support of His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed Al Qasimi. Amongst them include Sultan Abdullah bin Hatta Suwaidi, the chairman of the Sharjah Department of Economic Development, and indicating the high level of trust His Highness has on His Excellency Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed Al Qasimi. And we'll keep you posted about the developments here in the Emirate as we hear more and look at more reactions coming through. And meanwhile, we ask you to do stay tuned to Pulse 95, soak in the musical entertainment that we have to offer, and then we quickly move on to the new facilities in the Sharjah International Airport and how it is expected to facilitate air travel. Stay with us. You're listening to the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Stay fit. Stay fit. Stay fit.
Staying fit, staying hyped up, and staying pumped. It is what Paris is going to be doing for the 2024 Olympic Games. The president of the Paris Organizing Committee and Paralympic Games as well, they've been posing for the Tokyo Olympics with for the Parisian Olympics with the team as they landed back in France. They rolled out the red carpet for the Olympic flag yesterday as hosts for the next 2024 Summer Games, promising to make the sporting spectacle open to the masses after the pandemic hit. Tokyo Games took place behind closed doors. Now, we don't know what the future holds. We can't be that optimistic, but it is something very positive for the country. That's been the big message.
Yeah, and one of the things that are really exciting when they announce a new Olympics is what new sports are going to be included as well. And through the years, we've seen these novelty sports debuting at the Olympics. For example, in Rio 2016, we had golf. I think that's really cool. I think they should have stayed with that, to be honest. And in the Tokyo Olympics, they had skateboarding, and they had surfing as well, and climbing. Surfing was also particularly interesting. And those three sports are going to be returning to Paris as well in 2024. And I think it's cool because it appeals to younger people who may find other conventional games typically played at the Olympics to not be good product to watch at home. The other thing, too, is there are talks that in the 2024 Paris Olympics, I think this might have been confirmed as well, is they're going to be doing breakdancing. I don't know how they would evaluate that, but I'm already on board. I think that's really cool. Olympic breakdancing. How do you even train for that?
Olympic breakdancing.
I think we should send Rania to represent Iraq.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
It's like wide open because I don't know
Almost
if,
put me on the
I don't know any
spot.
Palestinian breakdancers. I could just learn it now and prepare for the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't do a two-step move. You want me to do breakdancing? I'm not a good dancer at all.
What do you do when you breakdance? Do you get on your head and
No,
you spin?
what is
Like
Olympic breakdancing?
Yeah, I mean that's
Is that different than the actual breakdancing?
No, it would be the same, but then it's just like skateboarding. You know, there's the stunts, the way you perform. It'd be like Magic Mike all over again. You never know.
Yeah.
But no, that could be great. I think it'd be an interesting medal to win. And Paris has a fantastic arts and street culture, so it really goes in with it. So I think it's a great way of attracting the TikTok generation because they
Yes.
love this kind of stuff. It sells, you know.
Yeah.
If you ask someone to watch javelin throw, they won't watch it.
So I'm trying to see what it's all about. So they're saying that it's the coolest new Olympic sport out there.
Yes.
And it's a style of hip hop dance that includes footwork and athletic moves like back or head spins.
Wow.
I can't do that.
We'll work on it. We got a lot of time. We got 3 years.
We can get the Iraqi Olympic Committee on board. We'll get in touch with them.
You
and
think
say,
I can do it in 3 years if I
Seriously,
train well?
it's wide open. I don't think there are any Iraqi women breakdancers in the game right now. So
text us.
This is tempting.
Text
Yeah.
us on 4215.
I did go to the gym. I am
That's
going to the gym,
good.
so I'm trying to get fit.
We have
Maybe
3
this is the
years.
okay. Maybe
have
this is the reason why I joined the gym.
it's
Yeah.
all fate. It's all
fate.
lined up.
It's all lined up.
Well, you started with Pilates, and now you're going to go on to
Right.
breakdancing classes.
Yeah,
You never
step by
know.
step.
Step by step.
Yeah,
Those important
baby
steps,
moves.
of course.
Baby steps.
Yes, indeed. So if you were to share your word of encouragement for Rania to join in the Olympic Committee's plans of representing Iraq in the breakdancing contest, then do text us on
I'm
4215.
gonna redefine the sports sector.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah, it should be a game changer indeed.
It will be a game changer.
Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll continue the discussions here on the program just after the business headlines. We shall return and we will focus a little bit more on the world of Greta Thunberg. She's back in the headlines. Apart from being in the front cover, she had a very different way of celebrating that and voicing her opinion. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Well, Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg has condemned the fashion industry over its huge contribution to climate change in her latest magazine interview. And she did tell Vogue Scandinavia that fashion brands, they needed to take responsibility for the environmental impact of their products. And also in a tweet, she accused some companies of greenwash ad campaigns. That's what she's calling them. They're designed to make their clothes appear sustainable, but they're really not. Now, Vogue Scandinavia, they featured Thunberg, who is now 18 years old, on the cover of its first issue yet. And in the interview, she said that she last bought a new item of clothing 3 years ago, and it was secondhand. She just said that I just borrow things from people I know.
Yeah,
this is insane.
That's pretty interesting as well. Cool. And she's tweeted a picture of this cover. She's in that cover. She's wearing an oversized trench coat while petting a horse in a forest. Pretty iconic, if I may say so myself. And she's one of the best-known climate campaigners as well. She said that fast fashion, it's like a disposable thing, and it features rapid, low-cost production that is not environmentally friendly at all. And she's calling for a, quote, system change. She said fashion could not be mass-produced and must be consumed sustainably as the world is shaped today.
Yeah, and she's all about saying that there is one of the many reasons why we still need a system change, and she's been very vocal about it. She voiced a very strong opinion about the report that was launched yesterday, and talked about the United Nations ringing the alarm bells over the climate change situation. But Greta is a very interesting character as well, isn't it? And it's great to have people like her in the media and in the limelight. What I do know is that she doesn't travel on airplanes.
Yeah.
So if we were to bring her over here,
just have her over the phone.
She'd swim or something.
Swim, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or Zoom.
Get a nice kayak for her.
Yes.
To bring her here to the studio so she can sail across. But a very interesting character, and something that is worth noting in terms of the way she dresses herself. You know, the way the clothing that she, for an 18-year-old, she doesn't dress like a typical teenager. She's not into typical teenage things either, and it's just. She's
such an inspiration for many people her age and for her generation, for sure.
And she practices what she preaches as well, which is pretty cool. I can't believe she's already 18, because I remember we talked about
her when she was 16.
Yeah, she was 16, and we had been talking about the school strikes that she had gone on, protesting outside the Swedish parliament, challenging world leaders at the United Nations as well, with the impassioned "How dare you" speech that got her really popular. And she still continues talking about this. It's a big part of her life, and she's still sort of aiming to reduce the carbon emissions. And this is all happening on the heels of that UN report, which has condemned the fashion industry in particular, saying it's the second most pollutant industry in the world, and the one that really contributes to 8% of emissions from around the world. It's very, very bad.
Definitely. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll continue the discussions on the world of climate change and what's coming up next on the program in terms of icons of voicing their opinions. Whilst Leo Messi had teared up and shared his thoughts on his eventual departure from his club, another player will be making his way out of his childhood club and somewhere, or a place where he grew up. It is going to be Jack Grealish. We'll talk to you about what's going on in the world of football, in the world of sports, up next here on the Morning Majlis.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.